Okay, welcome back. It's afternoon. It's after school. Headed home. March 14th, 2017. Pi Day. Happy Pi Day. 3.14. Two things on my mind this afternoon. One, cruise control, because I am in a car after all. And two, the Little Mermaid. So let's talk about both of those. First of all, cruise control. As I'm on my way home from school most days, I set the cruise control on my car. Various speeds. Most of the time it's around 70 miles per hour, which is the speed limit for the interstate in my area. And, that's where I set it. I just like to cruise home at the end of the day, decompress, take my time, get where I'm going safely. Others can go past me, I can pass others, whatever. But kind of in keeping with the theme of this morning's talk, cruise control can be more than just the cars, the vehicles in our lives. It can be our very lives. And I'm kind of recognizing that in the sense that there are people, myself included, that just seem to kind of be on cruise control. Their lives have developed, our lives have developed such a routine that it's so easy to just get up, do the same thing every single day, and this is kind of where I left off this morning, and not really vary from that. But the interesting thing about cruise control is somebody has to set the pace. And more it seems like others are setting our pace for us. I find that when I'm driving, as I do a pretty good distance each day, that I run into people that are more apt. Let me start over. When I drive at the speed limit, like set it at exactly 70 miles per hour and drive at that pace the whole way home, I pass people. I get passed by people and I pass people. But when I'm doing that, I notice the other drivers around me are more careful and courteous, and I run into less issues. I'm not as irritated by other drivers. I'm not put in as many positions where I feel unsafe or like I have to be defensive. When I'm driving at that speed, I'm around the other drivers that are driving at that speed. But when I'm going faster, if you kick up the pace and you're around the drivers that are also going faster, you run into more issues. You got people weaving in and out of lanes and causing all sorts of issues and backup and just flying past you like this car is doing to me right now. I'm going exactly 70 miles an hour and this person's going past me at I'd say 77, 78. But that happens when you go faster and are living more dangerously and driving more dangerously. You encounter more dangers. And the same is true if you're going slower. When I come up on a truck or even, another passenger vehicle that's going 50 miles an hour, it causes me to have to slow down and then the person behind me, and it has this domino effect of, the choices that we make, the pace that's set by others affects how we operate. And the same is true in life. I think if we are surrounding ourselves with people that are working toward making themselves better or safer or whatever it may be, more powerful, wealthier, it doesn't matter. When you're surrounded by those people, you are one of them. You become one of them. Or you at least notice more people like that. It's like when you buy a new car. I'm driving a 2007 Chrysler 300, and the second I bought it, the day I took it home, I saw 18 other ones on the road. I mean, it's one of those situations where before you have it, you don't realize how many there are. And the same is true with our pattern and our lifestyles. When you start living a certain way, you're going to find more people that are living that way, whether you are living in a way that you feel proud of and successful in, or the opposite. You're going to identify as those people, and that's cruise control. When you put yourself and set that pace, you're going to run into more people like that. the people that are set at the same pace. The issue comes when you let somebody else set your cruise control. When you start letting politicians or teachers or parents or adults set that pace for you, it's hard to stay there. It's hard to keep up with those expectations. And sometimes we have no choice. You know, when politicians put laws in place and we are forced to adhere to them, as we should, as American citizens, we voted those politicians in, so we should live with the choices that are made, whether we agree with them or not. And I'm not going to give my stance on that. It's just what I believe. If we voted for them, we do what they say, or we follow the laws that they put in place, because that's how society works. So the whole cruise control idea is, whether you're setting your pace or letting somebody else set your pace, you have to try to keep up with it. And until it changes, until it gets back to a comfortable one where you feel safe and secure and like you have a good control of what's going on, you're not going to feel comfortable. My goodness, the snow really just picked up all of a sudden. It's beautiful. I love it. I just wish it would stick around a little longer. So that's the idea of cruise control. It's not a very long one. It kind of jumped all over here and there, but the idea of setting a pace and sticking to it until you're forced to change. I guess that's what I mean. Keep living your life the way you intend to live your life until someone tells you you can't anymore. Keep doing your job the way you do your job until somebody tells you you can't anymore. Okay? Keep washing your clothes the way you wash your clothes until somebody tells you you can't anymore. It's as simple as that. Make the choices that you feel comfortable with, set the pace, set the cruise control, and stay on it until you're forced to change, until you have to slow down or speed up to fit in with the flow of traffic that is our daily lives. Wow, it's really snowing right now. I wish you could see this. The second thing is The Little Mermaid. And this one's a little bit, it's not as, soapboxy, I guess you could say. Out of coincidence, there's another Chrysler 300 going the other way right now. But The Little Mermaid, my wife sent me a link today to a new trailer for a movie called The Little Mermaid. And it's a live-action film, and the trailer advertised as a circus was coming to town, or some sort of sideshow or freak show, and one of the attractions was a mermaid, and this little girl, who seems to be one of the main characters, goes up to the mermaid, and she's, in awe of what the mermaid is doing or what it looks like, and through a series of events, the soul of this mermaid is taken by the ringmaster, or this sorcerer guy, not an evil undersea octopus, or squid, whatever Ursula is. But so it kind of follows some of the same themes as the original Disney film from 1989, but it's not the same movie, and it looks absolutely terrible. I watched the trailer. It was like a minute and 40-second trailer, and it just looks awful. It's not the same story. It's called The Little Mermaid, but it is not the Little Mermaid story that we grew up watching and singing along to and all these things. It's also not made by Disney. Disney is not producing this film, so it is not a Disney film. I think that's important to recognize. And that's the same thing I told her when I sent it back, because she captioned the video that she sent me. My wife did. She captioned the video saying, oh man, it's not the same storyline. And so I did some research, just a real quick search on Google, and it's not, because it's not Disney that's producing it. I think what's happening is, and I don't even remember the company that's doing this, but I think what's happening is this company has seen the success of the live-action Disney films with The Jungle Book and Beauty and the Beast coming out, and they want to capitalize on that. So they're making a live-action film about a mermaid and calling it The Little Mermaid, in order to kind of boost their ticket sales, and people that, aren't like me, that do the research, that decide, oh, it's The Little Mermaid, we got to go and see it, and spend all this money on movie theater tickets only to find out that this is not The Little Mermaid at all. No worries, though, because Disney is in working with Alan Menken, I think it's Alan Menken, and actually Lin-Manuel Miranda, the composer of Hamilton, the Broadway show. If you don't know who that is, he won a Tony Award and a couple Academy Awards, too, this most recent season. But those two are working together to create and write the music for this Disney-produced Little Mermaid that is set to come out later on. In addition to that I'm looking forward to it. Little Mermaid is one of my favorite Disney movies, and I feel confident in saying that as a 26-year-old straight white male. It's a good movie. It's got a catchy soundtrack. It's fun. It's eye-catching. I love the fish. I mean, I love ocean life in general. I don't like swimming in the ocean because it's salty, but I like fish. The blue whale is my favorite animal of all time, just because it's so massive and majestic. But other Disney movies that are in the works are Dumbo. They want to make a live-action Dumbo, and Danny DeVito is said to be one of the characters in it. I don't know if he's going to be Dumbo or not, but also a Cruella. Cruella, based on the exploits of her in the 101 Dalmatians. I don't know if it's actually going to feature the 101 Dalmatians, but Emma Stone is set to star in that one. And then there's actually a Tinkerbell, kind of following the life and times of Tinkerbell, starring Reese Witherspoon. So, it could be an interesting season. I like these live-action adaptations. Very much looking forward to seeing Beauty and the Beast here in a few days, mostly because Emma Watson's in it, and she's fantastic. She's not just beautiful, but she's also very talented. I grew up watching her on Harry Potter and all the films there. And then, I saw Perks of Being a Wallflower. I mean, I've seen a lot of her work, and she does a very good job. She has a new thriller kind of deal coming out with The Circle with Tom Hanks. So, it's an exciting season for Disney films in general with these live-action adaptations. I can't wait for an Aladdin one. Aladdin is one of my favorites, too. Tarzan. I mean, people will say what they will about movie remakes, but ultimately, I think if you're going to do something different with it, I don't think you should make like another Phantom of the Opera or another Fantastic Four, for that matter, where it's the same story just told with different actors and actresses. Something like Disney is doing, where they're taking these these animated film favorites and adapting them to live action versions, tweaking the songs and the sets and the characters. It's creative, and it's theirs. It's their intellectual property that they're adapting and changing. So it's not like some other studio is like, oh, let's take this movie and change it a little bit. No, that's not what they're doing. They're taking their movies and recreating them for a new audience. Because let's face it, people want something more exciting. You're not going to find a whole lot of 10-year-old, 11-year-old kids, believe me, I know, I work with them every day, that'll sit down and watch a 90-minute animated film about an Arabian guy on a magic carpet with his friend, Big Blue Genie friend. They're just not going to do it. Some of them will sit down and like it, but they would much rather be stimulated by live-action people doing real things and seeing it more realistically. Because that's what they're into now. They're not as imaginative. Kids are not as imaginative these days, and they don't want to live in a... It's hard to explain this, but they don't want to live in a created fantasy world or a fake fantasy world, if that makes any sense, but they want to live in as realistic a fantasy world as they can. These kids recognize that the games and the movies and stuff that they're into are not real, but they're as realistic as they can get. They would much rather participate or be engaged by something that's as realistic as possible, as opposed to something that's completely false, completely fake, where it's hand-drawn animation, cartoon style. They're just not into that kind of thing. Now, that's not to be said that they're not going to go and watch them. Like Moana, that just came out, it's just released on DVD earlier this week. Kids love that. They love those things. But they're going to be more intrigued by something that seems more plausible. And in that way, I have to give them credit, because when I was a kid that age, between the ages of 5 and 10, all I wanted to do was imagine. That's kind of all I still want to do. I want to create and imagine and live kind of in tune with that inner child that that kind of escapes the reality. But I think there's something different. Kids want to grow up, and adults want to be kids again. because they realized later how easy they had it as kids. But when you're a child, when you're a kid, when you're young, you just want to be older. You want the freedoms, you want the perks that come with being an adult or someone that can make their own decisions. And so attaching themselves to these cartoon fantasies isn't intriguing to them because it reminds them that they're not free to live the way they want to live, in the sense that they can't make their own decisions yet. They can't go out and, you know, buy their own clothes and get their own food and drive their own cars. They have to rely on their parents, their authority figures. Whereas when we're adults, we look back at those things and think, oh man, I wish I had it that easy. And so it's kind of this flip-flop reality. Kids want to see things more as they are and feel more grown up and more in tune with reality, whereas adults would much rather live in fantasy and the idea that the world is not as it is, but it is as I want it to be. So to get back to the point, I like what Disney is doing in creating these movies. It's a smart move on their part because the story is already written. I mean, there's not that backlog of, oh, we have to come up with a new idea. It's just how do we present it differently. And I think that's the key. I mean, the key is in presentation, whether you're preparing a meal or designing a building or teaching a lesson or giving or creating a movie. The key is in the presentation of it, because if it's not presented well, people aren't going to be interested by it. And that's our goal as creators, is to find something that interests people. So that's kind of my 2 points for this afternoon. If you're going to live on cruise control, set the pace yourself and adjust it as you need to. Don't just be okay with living at one speed. Don't be okay with just going forward and dodging in and out of the obstacles or avoiding the obstacles, but adjust with them. You know, back off when you need to back off, move on when you need to move on. And sometimes you may have to turn around and go do it again. And then The Little Mermaid, don't be discouraged if you see this trailer floating around. It is not a Disney movie. It is just a Disney title, I think, created to capitalize on all the upcoming Disney movies that are out there. So that's this afternoon. I still got about 5 miles before I'm home, before I can exit and get off the interstate, but I've got nothing more to say. This video is probably going to be pretty close to the exact same length as this morning's. They're not all going to be this long. Some will be longer, some will be shorter, but that's all I got. See you tomorrow.